We're still not visiting Mr. Sachs right now. I want to discover a few ports in the Southern Sea, which is probably where we're going to be heading next now that I'm thinking about it, unless something encourages me to go in another direction while we're here, because there's a lot of stuff there we haven't seen yet. And without knowing exactly where stuff is, and frankly, ideally having a better engine, Mr. Sachs can screw you over so hard. I think I've only ever successfully done it once. Don't think we have what we need. Oh, we actually have an outlandish artifact. Yeah, here. Take it. He is there surveying curios from distant ports with palace servants in muted slippers. The Empress dislikes loud noises. A collector of sort. The veteran privy councillor holds a mirror behind the artifact and examines the reflection. Yes, inferior to London workmanship, obviously, but it will make an acceptable conversation piece nevertheless. He snaps his fingers at a servant. Pay the captain. 150 echoes for it, sure, and that will mean that the Rose Market will open with new trades. The Venturer's Desirers. Unlocked with 7 parabola linen. Okay, so we're going to keep the 1 parabola linen we have left over from hiring the Merciless Modiste. We're going to keep that, and we're probably eventually going to... Oh, if we head up to Irem, we have to pay for it with fragments. I definitely remember some kind of trade involving coffee that could get you parabola linen. And I don't know if maybe that was at the Khanate, or if maybe it was you go to Irem with the coffee and you like go to a place there to do it. We're just gonna have to figure out where to get coffee, which I think is in the Southern Sea. We really need to head that way. And then for something durable, we need 7 Stygian ivory. Okay, we'll figure it out later. We could give him an extraordinary implication, but extraordinary implications have a lot of uses. I'm going to hold on to that for now because those don't take hold space. It's not like some other stuff where it's like I need to get rid of it because it's taking up all my hold space. Things like that don't, and we keep running into situations where we need them, so I'm reluctant to get rid of them unless we desperately need the money. Lodgings. Let's read the morning papers. News from abroad. The Khanate is threatening war. They always are. Yeah, it's the same. So we get another cask of herring and recent news. Yay us. Honestly, at this point, we could probably afford the elegant townhouse. Because we have over 2,000 echoes. And it would help with reducing terror. It would just also make resting more expensive to begin with. Well, there's so much stuff that you can't do without at least the elegant townhouse. Okay, screw it. I'm going for it. We're buying the elegant townhouse. A good address on Hollow Street. It won't be cheap. Sailor's service. You have your crew cart your things from the blind helmsman to your new address. If anyone respectable calls, they'll pass as servants. Resting is now more expensive, but more effective. And, of course, you can do other things. So, resting now will reduce our terror by more, heal up to 2 wounds instead of 1, and give us 2 restful nights instead of 1. But it now costs 100 echoes instead of 10. Still, we really need to reduce terror, so I'm thinking we might do that. Yeah, let's try it and see how much it reduced our terror. Sleep early, rise late. Take the air at the Tyrant's Gardens. Take coffee at Caligula's Coffee House. Take advantage of a Z-Captain's reputation. You could get used to this. Losing 15 terror for 100 echoes isn't terrible, but I'm more interested in the 2 restful nights because we still have that nightmare to deal with. So visit our study and see what we can do with this. Once your lodgings are large enough to support a study, you can create items such as an ironclad will, a whispering trophy cabinet, or the Zong of the Z. Create a shrine to stone. You know the hymns, the prayers, the traditions. Perhaps you believe, perhaps you don't, but it'll comfort the sailors. The process of creating the shrine to stone will increase your hearts by 7, as high as 200, and the shrine is an auxiliary item worth a further 7. So we'd have to equip it, I believe, instead of the We Are Clay that we currently have equipped, but just creating it would increase our hearts. Unlocked with 7 secrets. We only have 6 right now. Unlocked with 1 captivating treasure. Create an anatomical cabinet. You've learned so much. Now create an object lesson that will guide you in the destruction of your enemies. Creating the cabinet will increase your iron by 7, as high as 200, and it also creates an auxiliary item. So this one is the same thing, but for iron. We need some supplies, 7 lamentable relics, and 7 secrets. Create a serene aquarium. You know the secrets of this peculiar specimen. Construct an environment that will display it to best advantage. This one increases mirrors by 7, and we need 1 supplies and 7 secrets. That seems to be the same for all of them. And we also need 1 live specimen. Create a monstrous almanac. We've seen this one actually be sellable before. You could fill whole shelves of notebooks with what you've learned of the Z, its monsters, its treasures, its secrets, and so you will. Creating the almanac will increase pages by 7, and as an auxiliary item, it is worth a further 7 pages. So just creating it gives you some, but if you sell it, do you still keep the 7 pages you got for creating it? I suppose that'd be pretty obvious if we create one of these and it just says your pages went up, great. If it just goes up while it sits in our inventory, then that probably means we can't sell it. 7 outlandish artifacts. We probably should have kept the one that we had. We'll get another one eventually. Create a whispering trophy case. Yes, yes, when the bones are in place, you will hear them when you sleep. This increases veils by 7. And we need 7 strange catches and 7 secrets. Write a will. The court of chancery, as roaring iron, walketh about seeking whom it may devour. Ensure it doesn't get its lion tentacles on your property when you're gone. Should you die, this will ensure your heir retains your lodgings and any heirlooms you have accumulated. Convert captivating treasures into heirlooms, and they'll adorn your lodgings until the day you die. After that, your family will probably sell them. This is a way to pass on money to your next character. You can have no more than 12 heirlooms, or 16 in a mansion, and you'll need to pay a small fee to write these treasures into your will. Write the Song of the Z, which is our goal. You have assembled a store of lore and a collection of antiquities. Your knowledge of the Z rivals that of any captain of history. Write it all down. This will create the Song of the Z, which allows you to retire happily if you have the correct ambition, and is pretty nifty in its own right. It requires the cabinet, aquarium, shrine, almanac, and trophy case, which can all be created here in your study. Ooh, okay, plus tons of other things. A lot of port reports, 40 secrets, 77 tales of terror, 77 Z stories, 77 memories of distant shores, and then all of the stat boosting things up here that I was mentioning. Oh me, oh my, that's going to take a while, but we'd better hold on to stories wherever we can. Baseborn and fouling piece. The lawyer peers at you like a vulture composed of crocodiles. Come now, she creaks. There's a few years in you yet, but your caution does you credit. Sign here. No, ink is fine. This isn't the brass embassy. There. Now, when we die, we at least get to keep our house. And if we manage to make any heirlooms, then that will help too. Let's see. Does the ship need to go into dry dock? 39 hull out of 75. Yeah, that might be a good idea. Let's carouse in the Wolfstack docks. Sea shanties, fine food, and the warmth of a pub fire. And something more. Not such a coincidence, he protests. I had to meet a ship from home. Another one. But it's good to see you. There, Loose 10 Terror, progress that, because we could actually get a Scion now, in theory. Yeah, you get to engage a Sailor for cheap every now and again. So, let's grab another crew for 5. That gets us to 5 out of 7, which I'm comfortable with. I mean, if we got another event where we lost 2, that would not be great, but we'll probably visit Demue Island or something and get another cheap one there, and then we'll be good. Okay, as much as I'd like to keep Brabble in it, we're just going to sell it because our hold space is just... we need more. We need more hold space because otherwise I'm still probably not going to be able to hand in all of our port reports unless I decide to just sell some of the fuel. We did get that relevatory chart. It's just I'm afraid to spend it because they're so freaking rare, but let's just see what this does. He scrutinizes the chart minutely through a lens. He doesn't, you notice, remove the dark spectacles. It passes muster, he remarks. The usual fee applies. So 250 echoes if we give them here, nothing else special. I'm not certain I heard you correctly. Are you quite certain this is the report you wish to make? So be it. Other officials gather round to hear your tales of bloodshed and debauchery, and the jokes about the Khan that the Shadow produces so efficiently and so entertainingly. The one about the Khan and the donkey produces a roar of patriotic laughter, and encourages the deputy recorder to unlock the departmental drinks cabinet. Okay, if we wanted to buy a ship with a bigger hold, what are our options? The lamp pad would move faster, which is great, but its hold is actually smaller by like 10, I think. Yeah. Hold capacity 30 and we have 40, so that would just make the problem worse. I believe the Forced is just a straight upgrade in most regards. The only downside, and it's annoying that they highlight this in green because more weight is a bad thing, not a good thing, because it means we move slower. So we would move a bit slower, and we would also need more crew. Because it says 15, for us it would be 12, because we would still keep the We Are Clay. And that means that the 5 crew we currently have would not be enough. We would have to go hire more immediately. Then, like, the hold capacity is the same. It's basically a hull upgrade and a slight iron bonus and a forward slot. And I don't care about those things enough. I think this was one of the ones where I changed it so that it had slightly more hold than the Gloriana when I modded the ships. Not an insane amount. I think what I did, I probably still have the files somewhere. Well, yeah, nope, you're stuck with my hazy memory guessing, I'm afraid. But I do think, like, I increased the Gloriana's hold to 50. And I increased the Forceds to either 55 or 60. I left that one alone. That is not meant to be a ship that you use. And I think the Lampad's cargo space went up to 35 or 40. Again, none of these were huge changes. Most of them, you know, it was like a 5 to 10 cargo space increase for the smaller ships. I think I did make I think I left the Kaligos cargo space alone, but I did significantly reduce its weight. I think the Gloriana's weight stayed the same, and that one stayed the same, and the Lampid stayed the same. I think the Forced went down to like 1,500 weight. The Kaligo went down to either, I want to say 4,000, but it might have been 3,000 because I was irritated with it. But if I were going to do it now, I'd probably make it 4,000. And then the Menad went to like 2,500, and the Sketchalog went to probably also 4,000. But generally, it was just slightly more cargo space, somewhat less weight. Again, because I could not for the life of me figure out how to change the engine stats to just give them more power. Because I had the Serpentine at that point. And it's like, for some of the bigger ships, you're still going so effing slow. and using so much fuel, and you still feel like you have no room. Because guess what? All these bigger ships with more hold space, you need more crew and more fuel, or you're going to be moving super slow, or some combination of the three, because you need a bigger engine to move at the same pace, which means you're using more fuel for the amount of distance. You're using more food for the amount of distance because your crew is bigger. So even though you have a larger hold, so much of that is just taken up with supplies that you're still struggling with all these same problems, and they don't really feel like the upgrade that they should, in my opinion. They would definitely be an upgrade in some ways, like if you want to hunt Z beasts, you kind of need that extra haul, or you're really pushing your luck. But yeah, if we want to get all of the fuel for our port reports, we're going to have to just sell some for like a minuscule amount. I think we're done here for now. And what we're going to do is, let's see. Because as you can see, the further south we've been is the Iron Republic. There's just this whole part of the map that we have not looked at all. And I know there's some stuff down there we need to do. Including, I think we need to find the Mangrove College for the Speckled Admiral. That's the place he's been wanting us to go, and we just have not found it, and I'm pretty sure it's further south. So we're going to head that way and see what comes of it. Cool, we got here right before we had to feed the crew. Let's get the port report, lure them out with news. And luncheon with Lucy again, because I'd like to reduce terror. Gain 2 memories of distant shores, and Stone's attention, which I'm way more okay with than Storm's at this point. There, that puts us in a pretty good position. 16 supplies, 24 fuel, no terror. Let's see. We could swing by the Shepherd Isles and Demew Island to pick up a crew, and then head back through maybe Gator's Mourn and the Iron Republic, possibly the Command Canal. We can't pick up stone from the salt lines. We just don't have the hold space. The hold space, my apologies. We all know it. But we could do Shepherd Isles, Demew Island. Getting a port report at Gator's Mourn's tricky, but we have increased our veils. We may actually be able to do it now. Yeah, I think, okay, yeah. There. Gator's Mourn. Command Canal, Iron Republic to pick up more fuel before we start heading out into unexplored waters. That sounds good. We can just afford to be fairly generous with the fuel with this leg of the trip because we're going to pick up fuel in the Iron Republic. After that, we might be a bit stricter about the lamp. Okay, first let's compile a port report. Well, we're going to ask for Tales of Thornwell Croft. What about that island to the north, the one that isn't bridged? That old devil called Light. We did have a bridge, but the Ship of Lights came through here once. Hull of shining brass, lamps like stars, all those damned on deck at once. Couldn't tell if they were laughing or screaming. Plowed through the bridge and kept on going. Everyone who tries to rebuild it bursts into flames, so we don't try to rebuild it anymore. Yep, we're going to accept the volunteer this time, who would like to not have the weird mushrooms just everywhere, I guess. We only need 1 echo. He took out one of the smaller pirate ships again. And we got 2 supplies. That's nice. It's the Alaicus class one again, so this one's going to take a little longer. And honestly, the flare's helping me more than you. Goal is to stay behind them as much as possible, because they seem to have a much narrower firing arc than we do. I'd be surprised if they get at least one more shot off on us, but... Got him. Alright, you get a lifeboat. With business dealt with, the pirate poet joins you and a few select members of the senior crew for a late supper. She treats the assembled audience to Baptism of Glass about her first days at Z after years of servitude. By demand, she follows it with shorter works and Reforged, a cry for broken chains. In Polythyrene, we are given our words. We are not allowed to hope. We are not allowed to hope they will be kind. In London, I learned to write my own, and in that moment I was free. One day, others of my homeland will read them, and they too will learn. One day, my king's dreams must end. Dinner follows, hot wine and cold-spiced meats. Sailors openly place bets on whether she actually eats. The pirate poet ignores them. Her stoic facade doesn't even quiver until dessert is served. At that, just for a moment, even she cannot hide a slight smile. Sorbet, Captain, she asks, eye ridge raised. Don't make me tell folk you're even softer than they say. Unfortunately, we don't really get anything for that anymore other than the story itself. Like, there wasn't even a terror reduction. Which you'd think there would be, considering that was, you know, a nice dinner and feast, but... Okay, we ended up closer to the salt lines than I intended, so we're going to at least grab a port report while we're here. Because, yeah, the first couple times you take out the pirate poet, you get a lot of echoes for it, but afterwards... I know there are some events in Gator's Morn that relate to her, so maybe we'll run into those now when we head there. Gather port report. Visit the Unmakers. To lose a little bit of terror and gain 1 fragment. Now we're going to go to Gator's Morn and the Command Canal, and then head south to the Iron Republic, and then uncharted waters. I'm really hoping the crew eats some of these supplies along the way so that we have room to buy more fuel by the time we get to the Iron Republic. They're about to go through 1 crate. I think at best they might go through 1 more before we get to the Iron Republic, because we only have 6 crew, so it takes a while to get through a crate. Okay, so if we wanted to gather a port report with this level of veils, we have a 63% chance. That's not quite as good as I was hoping. And I think if we fail it, we lose crew. And we just don't have very many crew to spare. Like, we're not going to be picking up much more crew on this trip, I don't think. So we're not going to risk it for right now. I would like to get that to like 70% before we do it. So that's unfortunate. I thought, you know, a 15-point increase would be a slightly bigger shift in the odds than that. We can explore the Morn. Let's see. You come across a crew of Chelenate hunters exchanging heated insults with a Khanate privateer. It looks likely to end in blood. Side with the Khanate. They may be foreign, but at least they're halfway sophisticated. Side with the Chelonians. They may be uncouth, but at least they're brave. Raise your own flag. The Chelonians are savage ghouls who live in a dead turtle. The Khanate are decadent cowards that can't hold a kingdom together. London is the sole bright light of civilization in the Neath. Perhaps you should just point these things out. Oof, that would not end well. We're going to side with Chelonians because that's a 100% chance of success and I want to see what happens. With battle screams and razor-tipped harpoons, and your help, the Chelonians rout the Khanate privateers. The swaggering huntress who leads them claps you on the back. Well fought for a Londoner. Come to the Carrion Sea sometime. We'll roast a sea serpent for you. She drops a saw-edged bone token into your hand and blows a kiss. We have a whalebone token now. Okay. Let's see if I'm right about what happens when you fail this. Yep. Oh, no, we actually succeeded. When I saw the end caution, I thought it meant we'd screwed up. A steaming bathhouse on a spur rock. Water slops over the tubs, out over the edge to join the Z far below. Scarred captains boast drunkenly of the prizes they've taken and the victims they've marked out. You listen from the shadows. We now have a port report. Alright. I think succeeding the iron challenge made me just a little braver. Maybe it shouldn't have. 63% still isn't amazing, but we got it, so let's just go. Now for the Command Canal. If we get lucky, maybe we'll run into another small pirate ship. Or, you know, a bigger one that's managed to beach itself. That's good, too. You're gonna, like, actually back yourself in to the rock. Okay, let's get behind you. And go. Backing up, backing up, backing up. We would like to stay right here. Right here is good. Right here is very good. Alright, they're kind of circling around the right now. They really don't move that quick. I don't know what's up with them, but I'm not questioning it. One health. Alright, let's see if this has any more. 2 supplies and a fuel. That's nice. Dark drop coffee. Okay, yeah, we can definitely use that. We can run boilers on this stuff, your second engineer remarks, if and we run out of coke. He sees your expression and hastens to add, we couldn't. Please don't put the coffee in the firebox, Captain. It'd be a shocking waste. Yeah, honestly, I think you can make a pretty decent profit just by sailing around Gator's Morn and taking out pirate frigates from time to time. Because once you figure out that the key to ship combat in this game is to just get behind them and stay there by any means necessary, most ships, become pretty easy to deal with. No, those shiny golden ones that we saw out near the Empire of Hands, and they appear in a few other places too, not so much. And there are a few ship types that ram instead of shooting. Those are harder to deal with in a lot of ways. And Z-beasts like this, of course, well, they tend to, you know, all have ramming attacks. And some of them even have other attacks. And unless you are very, very fast, you're probably going to take some amount of damage fighting Z-beasts. Oh, we gained a Z story from that. That's nice. We need those. We need a lot of those, actually, for a lot of different things. Did manage to take it out hitless, but we did get a bit lucky because the only reason we were able to do that was because I fired that last shot before it was guaranteed to hit. Now, if we wanted to travel to the surface, I mean, we have a lot of supplies. I don't know why it's locked. We have, you need 22 fuel. Jesus, okay, we're not quite that well stocked, Jesus. Okay. Port report, because why not? Listen for surface gossip, because why not? We got a vision of the surface. This would be a prime spot for a pub or wine shop, but the interests of the Echo Bazaar and the laws of London prevent it. They don't like competition. Still, there are temporary, half-legal hostelries and long-moored ships. Here you trade stories with suntanned surface sailors, stories of Paris and Batavia, the Lost Fires, and the Final Isles. Still didn't reveal all of that. The annoying thing about trying to get the coast to reveal sometimes is unless you swing towards the coast, your light isn't covering it. So it can be a bit of a pain trying to get everything to reveal. We'll try again later. That ship up there, I believe, has a ramming attack, so it would be a lot trickier for us to fight than most. So probably not gonna try that anytime soon. Let's use up, yay, we used up a crate of supplies and the last barrel of fuel right before we got here, so that's good. Gonna compile a port report. The sensations of the Republic are overwhelming. This is a desire for years. That is a hatred for fountains. Here's an emotion that can only be expressed mathematically. Now you are awash with a nostalgia for the hatching of the egg. Write it down. Write it all down. Perhaps you'll be rid of it. We gained 2 hearts. And a tale of terror and a memory of distant shores. We got one of the good ones. That gets us 23 fuel, which is a pretty good amount. I would honestly prefer to have close to freaking 30 for the distance we're going, but if we need to buy some at maybe Con Shadow or something, then we can. All right.